if you've bought a house lately, you know there is this menu of items for inspections, and
There's a lot of inspections, right? And it's overwhelming.
what the heck? How many of these do I need? Welcome back to Really Mary. Now, if you've bought a house lately, you know there is this menu of items for inspections, and you're kind of going, what the heck? How many of these do I need? So Joe the Home Pro is in our studio today. Welcome, Joe. Tell us about all these inspections that someone may or may not get.
Yeah, first off, thanks so much for having me back.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. There's a lot of inspections, right? And it's overwhelming
Yeah.
to someone, especially in Southwest Florida. We have things like seawall inspections, or what's a WDO mean, or what's radon, like all these different questions. So we try to walk people through that process so they really understand what each of these specialized inspections are.
Mm-hmm. And these are really, really important because if you are on the water in certain areas, you're not required to put in a new seawall at the time you build. So
Correct.
they have a life. Now, you don't necessarily do all those inspections yourself. You send out some for
No
other
one
folks.
needs to see me in a wetsuit, Mary. Like, let's just be honest right there. But no,
You can't unsee that.
You
Is that what
cannot unsee that. This dad bod is taking a lot of time to get ready. But here's the thing that's great about it. Like, we have some really great partners that we work with
Right.
that are experts in those fields. There's certain inspections, like a seawall inspection
Yeah.
or a well and septic tank inspection. These are really, really specific. A home inspector is a generalist, so we know
Yeah.
a little about a lot of things. But when it comes to that sort of specialized equipment, we want the best of the best out there to take a look to really tell us,
Right.
is it working properly or not?
Right. You know, you mentioned WDO, so wood destroying organisms. Like
Yeah.
in Florida, it's not if you get termites, it's when you get termites because most of ours fly in. So even in those concrete built homes,
Yeah.
you're going to get termites. But wouldn't it be nice to know if you have some active termites in the house when you're buying it?
Yeah, the worst thing in the world is when we're going through a home up in the attic and we see little tiny wings and we're like, oh, this is not good. Not good. But that's why you do this. So we have an expert that comes in. We call him our termite expert, and he comes in and he goes top to bottom through that home, through every crevice of the attic, and he's looking for any signs of infestation of anything that might be there.
Now, I've run into radon. I know we were talking about it earlier in actual single family homes where they've had them in certain spots in Naples where they might be. But you say that they're also in you find them more often in what kind of structures?
High story condos is typically
Okay.
where we find it, but they are in single family homes. Radon
Yeah.
is a thing. And it's funny because you have either two schools of thought. One school of thought is, I'm from the north, every home has radon, which is true up there.
Right.
Another school of thought is, I'm in Florida, there's no basement, there's no radon. Both of those are true and false all at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So there is radon. Radon is a thing down here. It's not as prevalent or as common as it is up north, but
Right.
it does exist down here. And in condo towers, you see it on the first or second floor typically. There's some newer condos that were built that all have it, and it had to install mitigation systems. Because if you have too much granite, for example, that's going
Yeah.
to set off your radon because granite's a stone.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of nuances to that, but you set a machine in there, 48 hours, you come back, pick it up, and you get the results almost immediately.
You know, you mentioned machine and you also said air quality. I can't tell enough people, you are either highly allergic, sick, put you in the hospital kind of issues with mold,
Yeah.
or you could live, in a cave and you don't even care, right?
Right.
Two different kinds of people. And if you move here, you may not know which kind you are until you get in a house that you're living in that way for a while.
Correct. And let's also clear up the myth. Every single home has some sort of mold. We're
Right.
living with molds every single day. I guess like the challenge is how bad is it?
Right.
What kind of mold are we talking about?
Right.
And so for us to do an air quality test and air quality samples and really to send that off to a science lab, that's where it's not just us looking at something. We send
Right.
it off to a lab where a scientist looks at it. 24 hours later, they send us the results back and we're able to tell what's going on.
And I love that. These are the kinds of things that you want to have a real professional talk to you about, somebody that's been in town, doing this in our area for quite some time. Joe the Home Pro has for 9 years and continuing on, and really understands and has inspectors that actually understand what they're doing. Until next time, I'm Mary Bartos with the Bartos Group at Premier Plus.
And I'm Joe the Home Pro.
Look forward to seeing you then.